Hi there, I'm so excited to finally make this video. I'm gonna tell you about how we struggled with infertility for 2 years, and after 2 years we were able to get pregnant. I've been filming this series of videos about our struggle with infertility and unknown infertility, how we went to see specialists, to a specialist acupuncturist as well. You know, we were doing all these things to get pregnant because we couldn't do it. So we finally found the right people and we did an IUI. And it failed. And that was very difficult for us. It was devastating, but we decided to go through another one, IUI. In the other videos, and I really recommend for you to watch them, I'll tell you more about how we went to see the acupuncturist specialist, and after a while, after the IUI failed, we were supposed to start the treatment 2 months after. But we had a trip to Seattle, so we decided to push it for 1 more month, and we went to Seattle because I didn't want to start medication in Seattle. When we came back, we talked to the doctor and we needed to wait 1 more month in order to start, you know, whenever my period would start. We went ahead and talked to the doctor about what we needed to do, and he prepared all the protocol. You know, he told me what meds to buy and everything that I had to do, and we just needed to wait for my period to come. And we were waiting. I remember my period needed to come like on a Monday, and on Wednesday I got a call from the doctor saying, so when are you starting the treatment? Because, you know, he needed to monitor some of that and maybe do some ultrasounds. And I told him, well, I was supposed to get my period on Monday, but I'm sure it will come. Like, I had all these PMS sort of cramping and everything, and I was sure that I was, you know, going to get my period at any time. I already had the protocol ready to buy all the meds and everything, and he was like, you know what, you should take a pregnancy test, like a blood pregnancy test. I'm like, no, why would I do that? Like, seriously? I don't want to do that. Like, because I know it's gonna be negative, and you know how that feels, just sucks. And he said, no, go do a pregnancy test because we need to know what's going on. That was a Wednesday. Thursday comes around, Friday comes around, still no test, still no period. But I still had this cramping and all these PMS, so I felt, you know, it's coming any time now. So that Friday, I needed to buy all the medication because we were going to get out of the city that weekend. And if I started my period when I was away, I need to have all these meds with me. And, you know, these are very, very expensive. So I was like, you know what? It's Friday, 4 o'clock. I'm gonna take the test. It's gonna be negative. And with that negative, I can buy everything in the pharmacy and take it with me. So an hour later, the test was ready. I just went pick it up. Actually picked the envelope up and didn't even open it. I just went straight to the drugstore and I was waiting for the person to take my order. And while I was there, I was actually talking with my mother-in-law about this, you know, weekend away that we were gonna have. And I opened the envelope, and there's only one sentence. It said positive. I don't think my brain processed it right away because I closed it, put it in the envelope, and kept waiting for the guy to come. And I'm like, I don't think I read right. So I took it out again and read it, and it said positive. I was so nervous. I actually like hung the phone on my mother-in-law, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. I really expected this day and this positive thing to be like in dreams where you open a test and you realize you're pregnant, and then you prepare this box with these little shoes for your husband to come home, and then he'll open it and then you'll surprise him. And all of a sudden that went through the window. I saw positive and I freaked out because the doctor said that if I had a positive, I needed to see him right away. So that's exactly what I did. I called my mother-in-law again, saying, I'm sorry for hanging up the phone. Of course, I didn't tell her anything. She didn't even know we were doing a test that day. Finished talking to her, called my doctor, said, I had a positive. What should I do? And he said, where are you? I told him where I was, and he said, you need to come right away. You need to come right away. We need to run some tests. And that's what I did. I jumped in a taxi cab. I called my husband on a cab and said, I'm going to see the doctor. And then he said, why are you going to see the doctor? But he knew that if it was positive, I needed to go see the doctor. So then he, kept silent, and then he said, "Are you really?" And then I said, "Yes." And then he stopped talking because he freaked out as well. When you're going through infertility and you have these things, it's very different from other couples that are just getting pregnant, because there's more fear and anxiety on it than surprise and happiness and excitement. This is just a very unknown process. And so I ran to the doctor, saw him, he did an ultrasound, and nothing seems to show in the ultrasound. So he said, either you're not pregnant or you're pregnant, and this is really, really, really early stages. So he ran the test again. He wanted to check the HCG levels and other stuff. That was a Friday, and I needed to repeat all the tests on Monday. So on Saturday, the day after, I got a positive again from the lab work. And on Monday, I went to the fertility clinic again, and the HCG levels went up. So that was really good, because it showed that it was not an ectopic pregnancy and that everything seemed all right. But since it took so long for us to get pregnant, and treatments, and the treatment failed and everything, this was considered like a privileged pregnancy, where I needed to still take some meds and take some progesterone. I was on baby aspirin and Rupax, which is like for allergies, but it does something else when you're pregnant. And at the same time, we were so excited that we were pregnant finally, and we couldn't tell anyone, because we didn't want to get everybody's expectations up, and everybody excited, and then to miss our pregnancy. So we kept it a secret for several weeks, until I think around week 8. We actually went to Atlanta, and we tell our first friends there. Then we came back, and by week 8, we started to tell our family and some of our very, very close friends. Nobody at work knew that I was pregnant, actually, until I was 12 weeks. And that was only my boss, and then, my coworkers. And then, everything seemed to be going pretty well. I still had, every week I had an ultrasound for several weeks. And then every 2 weeks, I still had to take meds and stuff. I actually continue with my acupuncture treatments throughout my pregnancy, throughout my whole pregnancy. And all of a sudden I was okay, feeling happy that I was pregnant, feeling that I was, finally pregnant, enjoying the pregnancy. I remember after week maybe 14, I had no more nausea or no more anything. I felt super well. And then one day, when I was 18 weeks pregnant, I got appendicitis. And that was pretty scary, because my husband left for Brazil the day before on a work trip. And all of a sudden, I'm by myself in the hospital having appendicitis. So thank God, I work in a hospital, so it was very convenient that I was there. I got great doctors taking care of me. And the first person I called was my uncle, and I said, I got appendicitis. I had to have surgery. I talked to my OBGYN and the surgeon, and they were like, oh yeah, no worries. Easy peasy, he's only 18 weeks. I was like, how can I get a surgery while I'm pregnant? But I did. And after a couple of nights in the hospital, I was actually home. And after a week being home, I was back to work. So that was a good experience. It was very scary, but it was good. The pregnancy kept developing well, and I kept on with my doctor's appointment and with my acupuncturist appointment. And when I was 34 weeks, we decided that we were gonna sell my car, because it was a sedan, and we wanted something like bigger, like an SUV or something. So literally, we sold our car on a Monday, and on a Tuesday that week, on Friday, I was supposed to leave, on maternity leave. So in my country, you get 1 month before your delivery day, and then 2 months. 2 months after you deliver your baby. So I was supposed to leave on Friday that week for my maternity leave, which was very exciting. So Monday I sold my car. On Tuesday, I go to work, on Uber. And I didn't feel well that day. I remember I was having lunch and all of a sudden I felt this rush on my face, like a flush, and I felt my heart pounding, and I started to have more Braxton Hicks contractions, and I didn't feel well. But after 2 minutes, it just went away. Maybe a couple of hours later, I felt the same thing when I was on my desk. So I went to see the maternity ward to check on the baby and on my blood pressure, and everything seemed perfectly. So after that, I went to, I left work, 5 o'clock, went to my acupuncturist, and while I was there, my water broke and I started to have a placenta detachment. And that day my baby was born. I would really like to make a video on my delivery story, so please let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see that, because I would really like to do that. But basically that's how the process went, from not knowing what was wrong with us to having appendicitis to an early premature delivery, and now we have a healthy baby boy. He's now 1 year and 2 months, and he's wonderful and we love him to death. But the process in order to get pregnant was hard. It was very scary, and it was hard at the beginning to enjoy it all once you're pregnant, because you've been through so much. There's a lot of fear. So if you're going through an infertility process or you're pregnant after infertility, you are not alone. This is so normal to feel, and I would highly suggest to just connect with your friends, connect with your support network, and find someone you can trust that can really support you through this process, and take it one day at a time. Thank you so much for watching.